From the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center, the quarterfinals come to an end. A spot in the South Atlantic Conference semifinals is for grabs between the Mars Hill Lions 6th seed taking on the 3 seed Anderson Trojans here from the SAC Women's Basketball Tournament. We welcome you inside our broadcast booth here in Rock Hill. Tyler Katz joined alongside my color analyst for this game, Ryan Wilkes. Ryan, a matchup of two teams, two starkly different styles of basketball. Almost can't even fathom what these styles will look like clashing against each other. And to go along with it, a lot of star power for both the Lions and the Trojans.
Yeah, you talk about the clashing styles of play and how those two will collide. It'll be interesting to see that, but one thing that does remain the same is the offense of these two teams, two of the top 5 teams in the South Atlantic Conference, and a lot of that comes from their stars. First for Mars Hill, it's Aaliyah L. who leads away, 17.8 points per game, averaging just over 5 rebounds per game. You see her style of play. That mid-range game, very effective for Aaliyah L. in her time here with Mars Hill. One of the top players in the conference. She's a second-teamer this year, and good performance against Anderson, too. But on the other side, it's Diamond McDowell averaging a double-double for Mars Hill. Almost 18 points per game, 12.5 rebounds. Just a dominant stat line. Game over game for McDowell, one of the conference's best players. Big part in the 21 regular season wins for Anderson, a 17-7 record in the South Atlantic Conference, en route to that 3 seed in this tournament. You take a look at some of the stats, too. I mean, Aaliyah L. and Diamond McDowell, two of the better scorers in the conference, both averaging almost 18 points a game, and Diamond McDowell just gets it done on the boards as well. She's a really talented player, and it should be a really fun matchup to close out quarterfinal play tonight.
Well, alongside Aaliyah L., you also talk about T.T. Harris averaging about 13 points a game. Maddie Gilley sitting right there at around 10. And then Rose Gravel, you talk about the Freshman of the Year in the SAC for Anderson. She was just awarded her Freshman of the Year trophy prior to the game today. Gravel had her career best, her season best as Freshman of the Year against Mars Hill last month with a season-high 28. This is our final quarterfinal through the men's and women's bracket. Winner of this will take on Carson-Newman in exactly 24 hours. The Eagles getting it done against Lincoln Memorial, a team who knocked off the Eagles twice in the regular season. Carson-Newman got it done when it mattered earlier today. Wingate, as the 4 seed, kept it all chalk on the women's side. Wingate and Coker. That's setting up to be a fun battle in the 5 o'clock slot between the Bulldogs and the Cobras.
Yeah, it should be. Not Wingate's day really offensively today, but the Bulldogs were able to withstand the storm from Catawba there in that second-to-last quarterfinal game of today. But the matchup I'm really excited about, the potential matchup between Anderson and Carson-Newman. If the Trojans are able to pull out this evening, 2 postseason matchups between the two sides last year. Anderson and Carson-Newman met here in Rock Hill. Carson-Newman got the job done, and then in Salisbury, the Eagles took care of business again. So Anderson could seek some revenge in the postseason against the Carson-Newman squad tomorrow, but first off, have to deal with Mars Hill here this evening.
Yeah, first time in 3 years that Anderson has not played in the quarterfinals against Carson-Newman. Must be thanking the heavens it's finally a team not in navy and orange. Mars Hill, the opponent for Anderson, will step aside when we come back. Starting lineups and tip-off between the Lions and the Trojans here on Flow College.
At LMU, every door is open. Each can help me build my future exactly how I imagine it. Let's check those specs, guys. And lead to a career where I'll have an impact. As a nurse, how are you feeling today? A social worker.
I guess I started when I was young.
Or an executive of a multinational company. Take a look at the third quarter. I know LMU will prepare me for a career where I'll make my mark. That's a cut. Because whatever door I walk into, there's a...
Balance. It isn't just essential in your sport. It's essential in life, especially college life. It's everything you need to thrive in school, in sport, and everything in between. The key is just finding a place where you can pursue it all. Because the real beauty lies in the balance. If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
Welcome you back here to the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. The game pledge being delivered by a Trojan and a Lion at center court. So we'll take a look at two coaches who have done an incredible job turning their teams around. Mars Hill, led by Emery Satoris, took over the Lions squad 3 years ago, took over a 1-25 Lions squad and completely turned them around. Satoris now has taken the Lions to a 17-11 record, 14-10 in conference play, and a spot in the SAC tournament. First time earning a spot in the 8-team field since 2016. So Satoris taking a team, turning it around. Has been 9 years since being in the field of 8. And then more your traditional style basketball coach took over a good program and continued to have a good program. And Jonathan Barbary, or JB, 21-9 go the Trojans. They've had a great few seasons under JB, and he'll look to continue his run of success in postseason play for the Trojans. Ryan.
Yeah, obviously two very talented coaches, and a milestone for Coach Satoris this season, the Mars Hill Mountain Lions. Want to make the most out of this trip in the SAC tournament. Your first time in quite a few years for Mars Hill to make it here. So expect to see a hungry Mars Hill team looking to prove its presence here, the new presence in the South Atlantic Conference, really. And Anderson, who's been a mainstay in the conference for years now, probably looking to expect the same out of the Anderson Trojans here this evening.
You talk about this Mars Hill team. They did make the field as a 12 seed in the opening round of the full league 2021 COVID tournament. But other than that, relatively without postseason play. Got a chance to talk earlier today, with Emery Satoris, and was talking about how there's just one player left from that 1-25 squad, that being senior Maddie Gilly, who's still been averaging just about 10 points per game. So not a whole lot left from the start of the Satoris era when that 1-25 team occurred in Mars Hill, North Carolina. It's been a complete heel turn for the Lions and look to continue that success for a matchup with Carson-Newman, a team who the Lions beat in the regular season. Speaking of these two teams between Mars Hill and Anderson, split the regular season meetings between the two sides. Anderson taking the victory 84-76 in Anderson. Mars Hill winning on its home floor by 15. So an 8-point win for Anderson at the home of the Trojans, a 15-point victory for Mars Hill at the Lions' Den. So both teams getting it done on their home floors. It'll be interesting, Ryan, to see how the rubber match goes on a neutral floor today.
Yeah, the neutral floor has kind of produced some interesting matchups. In the first couple games, good contingencies from the respective schools. Tonight in the nightcap, a little bit of a thinned-out crowd. You got to create your own energy to a certain extent. So we'll see how those two teams do that here on a neutral floor in Rock Hill.
Just about set to go. Starting lineups have been announced, and we'll let you know the starters today as well. Familiar starting five for Mars Hill: Aaliyah L., Alicia Brown, Maddie Gilly, Daisy Gale, and T.T. Harris round out the starting five, with Harris being the lone forward in the starting five for Satoris' Lions. Anderson goes with Zayna Preston, Zamaya Passmore, Ashlyn Sheridan, Diamond McDowell, and Kyla Kane rounding out the starting five for the Trojans of Anderson. Interesting to see here, freshman of the year, Rose Gravel, who started in all but 6 games this season, left out of the starting five for the Trojans.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. Maybe going a little bit more at leadership in the front court this evening for Anderson. Gravel obviously an asset off the bench, though, so maybe putting her in that second unit when Anderson needs a push off the bench might be the thinking for JB here coming into this one.
A lineup that Anderson has gone with before. Tip-off the way of the Lions, dressed in black. Anderson matching with the home whites. Anderson men's team fell in a 7-2 overtime clash to Lenore Rhine, the Trojans. Men's side was feeling good in Rock Hill. We'll see if the Trojan women feel the same. Nice cut inside, but a better block by Aaliyah L. She's been known to get up and block a shot a time or two.
Yeah, Tyler receives Zamaya Passmore on that first possession. Although it didn't end in a bucket, you see the stop-and-go ability, the ability to create an open look, just really good defense there.
Nice poke by Ashlyn Sheridan. It's a tie-up for the ball, and a quick jump ball will go the way of Anderson. Still playing in their home state, despite being quite a bit of a hike from Anderson, South Carolina, to our facility here in Rock Hill.
Yeah, Tyler, in the first couple possessions, you really see the tone being set of a physical matchup, multiple deflections, multiple loose balls, some bodies colliding, and I think that's setting the tone for what's going to be a physical matchup, despite it being the nightcap here this evening.
7:30 will be the start time for both of these teams tomorrow night in the semifinal for whoever wins and takes on the 2-seeded Eagles of Carson-Newman. Nice turnover and ball control for Mars Hill, working up the floor, still looking for our first bucket of the day for either side. Roll off to the right side as Gale, the freshman from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, controls. Back top of the key, thought about a jumper was Gilly. Reminder, number 11 in black, Maddie Gilly, the lone Lion left on the roster from that 1-in-25 squad that existed when Emery Satoris took over 3 years ago. And excellent defense there on the possession from Anderson to force the shot clock violation.
Yeah, great defensive possession from Anderson. Like we saw last game, the two teams have struggled to get going offensively in the first couple possessions. And it's interesting to think about, having to sit around and watch teams play all day. You're waiting for your shot. Now you get it. What are you going to make of it, especially setting the tone here in the first few minutes?
Ball controlled by the Trojans. Ashlyn Sheridan back to Passmore. First team All-SAC member is Passmore, 11 in white. Nice pickpocket. And unable to keep control is McDowell, the senior from Ashboro, just loses the handle on it, and it's a turnover back to the Lions.
No real clean looks yet. McDowell, she's swarmed when she gets into the paint, and a lot of deflections again early in this ballgame as there's another loose ball. Passmore picks it up.
Amaya Porter was decked into the scorer's table. Nice hook shot, just couldn't get it to fall, was Diamond McDowell. Loose ball picked up by Amaya Porter on a failed handoff. Still looking for our first bucket more than 2 minutes in. Gilly for three, back iron, ripped down by McDowell, averages 12.5 rebounds per game, does McDowell. She'll be a dangerous woman on the glass. There's the three from McDowell, showing what she can do on both ends of the floor. The defensive board on one end fires a triple from the other.
Yeah, Diamond McDowell, again, one of the best players in this conference, and she shows it right there, her ability to stretch the floor.
Hook shot under the basket, too strong on the attempt from L. It's out of bounds on a turnover. We'll give it back to the Trojans. 3-seed Trojans have 3 on the scoreboard.
Here in the last few possessions, seen a couple good looks down low. McDowell had one in paint. That time, L, just a little bit of an awkward angle. She wasn't able to find the glass and scoop it in.
Trojans looking to extend the early lead. Only one bucket made. It was a triple from McDowell. Cut inside, back out for a wide open Sheridan. Just a bit off to the left, hits back iron and rolls out. We mentioned those two clashing styles of play. Mars Hill much more aggressive, trying to get to the basket. We haven't seen that as much, perhaps trying to adapt to Anderson's style of play with more shots from range. And it's almost like a reversal here, right? Because Amaya Passmore cuts inside. Anderson more of that perimeter team who likes to shoot it from distance and likes to outshoot and physicality other teams. And it's kind of been a role reversal, each team adopting the other's style through the first 3.5. And Anderson has taken the advantage with a 5-0 lead. Mid-range jumper for Mars Hill, still getting shut out through the first 4.
Yeah, and you talk about the clashing styles in play, but in the last possession, Zamaya Passmore showing what she can do and getting the bucket.
Coming up the left wing go the Lions. Amaya Porter, freshman from Lawrenceville, Georgia. She's going to be a talent for Emery Satoris through her collegiate career. Another 3 doesn't fall for the Lions. 0 of their first 6.
Tyler, what we're seeing from Mars Hill is very reminiscent of what Catawba, the start they got off to in that quarterfinal matchup. We'll see if Anderson's able to build a steady lead here in the early going.
L now 0 of 3 as she can't get the layup to fall. Lions struggling for offense. Now on a fast break opportunity. L to the basket. unfavorable bounce. Offensive rebound, second chance. Get the and one for T.T. Harris.
There it is from T.T. Harris. She breaks the seal for Mars Hill, and it all starts with Aaliyah L. in the backcourt, creating the steal, creating the opportunity on the other end. Missed the layup, but right there was T.T. Harris. Mars Hill still had numbers, and T.T. Harris converts.
Harris, one of the best shooters on that Lions team. High percentage shots all the way around, 57% from the field. She matches that with a 59% free throw percentage, and she'll convert on the three-point play. Mars Hill puts up a field goal and 3 points to start its offensive day. A quick turnover on the other end, a chance for Mars Hill to take the tie. And doing that is Lauren Arnold, another freshman, creating points for the Lions.
Back-to-back possessions, Mars Hill going to the bucket. Like you talk about, Tyler, Mars Hill wants to create the opportunities at the rim. Back-to-back opportunities, and we're tied at 5.
Mars Hill now getting to more their style of play, and it's worked out for them, racing to the basket, hoping to get around Anderson. And they've drawn the foul when they can get it. It's worked out. Next whistle will take us to our first timeout on a 3-ball that hits front iron and rattles out. Nice save off of the body of Lauren Arnold, and it's going the way of the Trojans. Anderson with the first 5 points, Mars Hill with the last. We're tied at Cinco's through the first media timeout in our final quarterfinal. This is the SAC Women's Basketball Tournament on Flow College. We welcome you back here to our coverage of the SAC Women's Basketball Quarterfinals. A big 3 from Diamond McDowell. Cutting to the basket was Zamaya Passmore. Those were the first 5 points of the game. Aaliyah L., the missed shot, the putback by T.T. Harris for the and one opportunity. And then Lauren Arnold able to cut into the basket to tie our ball game at 5 today. As we're back underway following the media timeout, Anderson basketball looking to reclaim the lead after a 5-0 spurt from the Lions. 3-ball from Sheridan. Bang, nothing but nylon.
Big 3 for Sheridan to regain the lead for Anderson. And Tyler, only 13 points scored in the game, but she's seen a little bit of everything. Couple threes, couple clean drives to the cup, and a couple second chance points as well.
All 5 of Mars Hill points have come off the turnover. Thought about a 3 from top of the key was Tatum Bowen. Thinks better and rolls left. And that will be a backcourt violation at the very least, as it's picked up by Aaliyah L., and one of the easiest calls for an official to make when the ball rolls back like that and picked up by the offense.
Yeah, it was a little thing defensively there on that possession. You know, Tatum Bowen picked up her dribble, and it was Zayna Preston who saw that and was able to create the turnover.
Another 3 balls, no good. Second chance opportunity. However, there's an offensive foul on the floor. Mars Hill will get an opportunity. Ryan, you hear all the time that basketball is a game of runs, right? Well, 5-0 run to start the game, 5-0 run to tie it up. Anderson looking to make another run of their own after a 3-ball and looking to continue that spurt, but it starts with the defensive stop of the Lions here.
Yeah, and Anderson's done a good job with Aaliyah L. so far tonight. We'll see if that can continue as Anderson looks to build a lead. Another turnover there.
Intercepted by Passmore. She takes it the other way. Runs into our camera operator, Molly Buckowitz, and everyone's able to take a laugh at that as we're going back the other way.
Yeah, Passmore's been active, 4 points, 2 of 4 shooting, and has gotten the bucket at ease.
Under the basket, a slip and fall, but a foul is called. 2 officials put the fist in the air. And it goes against the freshman of the year, Rose Gravel, who checks into the ball game at the media timeout. Freshman from Ocala, Florida, Trinity Catholic High School alum, has bucketed 312 points in just her freshman season in a Trojan uniform.
Good action on the back cut there from Lauren Arnold. Maybe a little fortunate there that she absorb some contact because I think she tripped on her own, but Rose Gravel coming over to try and defend that might have supplied a little shove as well that puts Arnold at the free throw line.
Arnold at the line for the first free throws of the day from either side, and she'll go a perfect 2 for 2. Make that the second trip to the line after the and one opportunity earlier in the ball game from the Lions.
Tyler, you talk about Mars Hill's ability to get to the bucket. 7 shots have been from 2-point range. Have put up 4 threes, but haven't found the bottom of the cup. Saw Catawba get out of their bread and butter. Mars Hill has seemingly had the most success when getting the bucket.
Anderson also taking 4 3-point attempts, but 2 of those have bottomed for points for the Trojans. A foul called against Mars Hill. It goes against Gale. And through the first nearly 7 minutes of action, it's the first foul called on Satoris' Lions.
Saw some foul trouble in the last quarterfinal matchup, and so far here in this game, pretty clean plate and no trouble to speak of quite yet.
A roll-off, long 2-point shot. We've seen it all week as here's a second chance opportunity for Passmore. She's rejected by the rim. There are 3 lines here at the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. The furthest from the basket, so that second black line, is the 3-point arc that we're playing with today as Aaliyah L. cuts inside for her first points of the day.
Go ahead,
Tyler. The beige line in the middle, the old college 3-point arc, that first and closest to the rim black line is the high school 3-point line. We've seen multiple teams this week shoot it from the high school 3-point line and end up with long 2-pointers. Cuts inside, L draws contact, couldn't get the and one, and this goes against L. Initially, when I saw the contact, Ryan, I thought it was against Aaliyah L, but there wasn't that call for charging that you typically see from the official. And then it's finally, I believe, audibly said to L as it's called for an offensive foul against the second team All-SAC Aaliyah L.
Yeah, right idea there by L to try and Euro step out of the way, but maybe just a little too late as Peyton Oliver coming in off the bench draws a big foul against Aaliyah L. It's just her first, but she'll take a breather here in this first quarter.
3-6 matchup. Trojans, the higher seed, lead by just 1. Roll off. What a move from McDowell. Can't get it to fall. Other way, the Lions love to work with speed. Rolling around, caught under the basket, a tie-up, and a jump ball called. Possession arrow will keep it with the Lions.
Tyler, a little bit of a slow streak again. Back-to-back games, we've seen some slow starts, very contrasting the first game of the day. Carson-Newman and UVA-Wise, it was good shooting from both sides, but early action, both teams struggling to get it going a little bit.
Mars Hill looking for an opportunity to claim the lead, and a nice lay by Daisy Gale will give the Lions its first lead of the game and the quarter.
Yeah, good move by Daisy Gale. Didn't expect a foul call, which is what we see sometimes, and it's an overpowered shot at the basket. She absorbed it, finished through the contact, and Mars Hill's back in front.
And you have to give that up to coaching for Satoris as a shot put up, free throws coming up for Rose Gravel, the freshman of the year. But it can be a little frustrating, watching at home and seeing a player give up on the play when they're expecting a foul call. And as you mentioned, love the effort on the Mars Hill side of the ball, playing through it, not expecting the foul call, and getting the lay.
Same goes there for Rose Gravel on that possession. Stuck it back up there. No intention of getting a foul call, but she got it. Now she's at the line for 2.
Gravel will have an opportunity for free throws. She makes her first. Freshman of the year has her first point in her Rock Hill career at the SAC Women's Basketball Tournament. Spot against Carson-Newman on the line in now less than 24 hours, 7:30, the expected tip time tomorrow. 2 of 2 from the line goes Gravel.
What a benefit for Jonathan Barbary to be able to bring Gravel off the bench as she'll head back there now. So many capable players on this Anderson team that even if you have the freshman of the year, you can be very versatile with how you use her.
Mars Hill having to fight through the full court pressure. They get out of it pretty cleanly. Anderson still pressuring, trying to stop Mars Hill from getting to their bread and butter inside the paint. Turnaround jumper. It looked free for TT Harris, but an offensive rebound keeps the possession alive. Little floater won't fall either. Back out, own rebound, Bowen's triple, air balls. And a fight for the basketball out of bounds. Last touch by a Lion. And it's Anderson basketball. Ryan, we've had a sneakily close game. You don't feel like we haven't been looking up at the scoreboard a lot today, but it's only a 1-point Anderson lead. Both teams really struggling to shoot the basketball. Anderson, the better shooting team of 29%.
Yeah, but you see both teams fighting for second chance opportunities, and Mars Hill has a rebounding edge, but both teams have really been fighting hard for second chance opportunities here in the first quarter.
Long possession for Anderson, ends with a Diamond McDowell triple. And it extends it to a 2-possession game, a 4-point lead for Anderson down the stretch of our first period.
McDowell's 2 field goals, both 3. She's proven she could get it done back to the basket and behind the arc.
Turnaround layoff glass is no good for TT Harris. The Trojans have been frustrating the Lions in the paint, where Mars Hill feels the most comfortable. McDowell tries to go up again and draws contact for the foul call. It's the 4th on the Lions in this first period. It goes against TT Harris, being her first foul called on the game. Shot clock is off on the ensuing Mars Hill possession as McDowell goes to the line.
Yeah, this first quarter, Tyler, has really been a little bit of a showcase for Diamond McDowell, even though she misses the first free throw. 2 3-pointers, she gets to the rim, draws the foul. And before that, great defense with TT Harris with her back to the bucket.
Second shot is good, and it brings in Izzy Profit. But you take a look at these two teams and where they rank in the league. The top 2 rebounding teams in the league, Anderson 1, Mars Hill 2. And then you look a little further into it. Anderson, one of the top scoring defenses in the league. They're the best in the league at stopping the 3-pointer, and that's shown true here with an 0 of 5 mark in the first quarter. Wide open from the free throw line, Daisy Gale, a comfortable shot. Brings it back to within 3. 3-quarter court heave, hits off iron from Peyton Oliver. About this time yesterday, we saw that shot go in from Carson-Newman's Tori Rutherford. Almost saw it on back-to-back nights from Peyton Oliver. And that ends our first quarter. Well, folks, how about a hand for our camera operators here in Mars Hill? Incredible work from the Carson-Newman-led staff, and Molly Buckowitz on the baseline gets bowled over and takes it like a champ. 16-13, Anderson leading as we head to the first quarter break here on Flow College.
At Anderson University, we are on a journey, one that seeks to find the purpose for which God created each and every one of us. So we search, we grow, we dive in, and with a close-knit community, small class sizes, accomplished and supportive faculty, and a spirit that believes that together we can accomplish big things. The person we are striving to become doesn't feel so far away. So we push, we dream, we dig deeper, until our journey finds us as teachers, artists, writers, athletes, engineers, nurses, and friends. And while we're at it, we just might change the world. Anderson University, knowledge for your journey.
Back here from the South Atlantic Conference Women's Basketball Quarterfinals. Well, we took you to break talking about one of our camera operators, Molly Bucko. It's a great job by our entire Carson-Newman-led crew today and our incredible camera operators overall. Of course, Molly Bucko, it's on the baseline. Itzy Ayala on the other. Here's a 3 from Oliver that airballs. Kennedy Gones on your half-court cam and Max Bryant on your slash cam. Incredible replay operator Jay West, director Ian Johnson, and Andrew Rogers on graphics and sideline duty as the third member of our crew, who you'll meet at halftime as TT Harris gets the first points of the second quarter. And, of course, our crew here on the broadcast booth, Ryan Wilkes, my analyst to my left side, and Tyler Katz here on the call with you. An incredible crew having the opportunity to have your entire tournament coverage here in Rock Hill. Anderson looking to advance to the semifinals with a win over Mars Hill. Mars Hill hoping that it's the Lions meeting with the Eagles in tomorrow's semifinal.
Tyler, good start to this quarter for Mars Hill. Has got a buck in the last possession, now looking to take the lead here on this one.
Lions have held the lead by just one. It came with about 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Have not held the lead since. Solid chance and the second opportunity for Lauren Arnold. Arnold has been sneakily the best player for Mars Hill. She's already got a few, passing her season average.
Clean sheet so far for her, 7 points. 5 points, excuse me, 1-on-1 from the field, make that 7 on the last shot. And she's been really solid getting it done on the glass as well.
Gives Mars Hill the lead. The Trojans take it right back, and who else but Timon McDowell, who gets her 8th and 9th points of the game.
Yeah, she's almost in double digits, and she has 5 rebounds. She's almost at that double-double mark. Needs 5 more rebounds, but that's about what's been expected from her this year.
Under the basket, wide open is Maddie Gilly. The Lions don't miss a lot of shots, left alone in the restricted zone. Trojans need to cash in on the rare Lion mistake, and they can't. Well, they'll get another opportunity as Gilly bats it out of bounds, and we'll get a few players off the bench from the Trojans, including Zayna Preston checking in. Zamaya Passmore back in after coming out as well as the South Atlantic Conference's Freshman of the Year, Rose Gravel, back in with 22 on the shot clock.
Great job by Maddie Gilly there. Missed the layup on one end, got back, created a deflection. That was almost a good look for Anderson from behind the arc. So good job by Maddie Gilly to get back after missing a layup on one end.
The throw-in will come into the backcourt. Solid option. Passmore with the heads-up play with no options available inside. And it's a takeaway going the other way. Layup for Gilly. She won't be denied twice. Remember, she missed the exact same layup on the last possession. She gets it back. Three-point attempt is good. And shushing the Lions is Jana Preston, the freshman from Austell, Georgia. A foul called against the Trojans. It goes against McDowell. Already her second, Ryan. I know it's a second quarter, so the second foul is a little bit more acceptable, but not what you want to see for JB, Jonathan Barbary.
Yeah, McDowell's been kind of the offense so far for Anderson to a certain extent. Just not a great decision there to go jump after that pass to L. Just get back defensively and set up against Mars Hill team that's starting to pick up this pace. The game's starting to go back and forth a little bit as Mars Hill and Anderson continue to battle it out here in the second.
Nice cut to the left by L. She gives it up for Gilly. Triple bottoms! It went from a 2-point deficit to a 1-point lead for Mars Hill.
Maddie Gilly's been awesome in this quarter. After that missed layup, she's created deflections, had a steal coast to coast, and now a 3 to give Mars Hill the lead.
Pass off left wing triple. Preston, side backboard. Taken away. Solid rebound by Alicia Brown. Other way, it deflects and nearly finds its way in. It would have been a Sports Center worthy play had it gone in. And I steal from Amaya Porter. Easiest 2 points she'll get on the night.
Yeah, bad pass there by Sheraton, and mid-court is Porter that took it away. Really nice read. Not a bad idea by Sheraton to give it up to a guard, but right there was Porter to create the opportunity on the other end.
6 turnovers committed by the Trojans, nearly avoided the 7th, and now a foul called underneath. That goes against L, her first.
And Mars Hill's done a good job to stay out of foul trouble. And not the worst thing in the world to pick one up right there. Not a shooting foul, just a drive to the baseline, foul on the floor. But Anderson retains possession, and maybe definitely helped out Anderson a little bit. Looked like a broken possession. L eventually picks up the foul, and Anderson will inbound on the baseline.
Shot clock at the traditional 20 for an inbound pass at the baseline. A tie-up at the floor, easy jump ball called, and it's a turnover for Anderson. Possession arrow in favor of the Lions.
Yeah, you see the momentum right now really on the side of Mars Hill. It was Anderson that had it for most of the first quarter, now into the second, but seems like once Diamond McDowell picked up that second foul, she's not out of the game, but you're certainly playing a little bit more carefully now that McDowell has 2.
Mars Hill will slow the pace down on its next possession. rolling in. A shot from just outside the paint. Gilly couldn't get it to fall. Gilly has taken a majority of the shots. That's her 5th. She's now 2 of 5. Cut through the basket and ripped through the Mars Hill defense like butter. Zamaya Passmore lays it in.
Yeah, that stop-and-go ability again from Zamaya Passmore. Crossover at the top of the key, then it was smooth sailing to the cup on the finger roll.
Nice handoff to Maddie Gilly. What can Mars Hill do with this possession? Half their shot clock gone. A cut to the left. L from the paint. And we've talked about it all game, Ryan. That is where Mars Hill goes to thrive. The paint is where the Lions live, and Anderson has been letting them get there. Low percentage shots, but still allowing shots from inside the paint.
And that mid-range jump shot is kind of Aaliyah L's game. From 10 to 12 feet is where she succeeds, and she gets it done right there.
McDowell's attempt unsuccessful, and we're going the other way with Mars Hill looking for an opportunity to now extend its largest lead of the game. Back out Brown's 3, hits front iron and bounces out.
The box out there by Gravel to keep T.T. Harris off the glass, who's been active so far. The freshman making an impact on the glass so far.
Anderson was working with incredible speed. Got quickly slowed down by the Mars Hill defense. A low percentage shot finds a foul on the floor, so an inbound coming. About halfway through our second quarter of play, Mars Hill with its largest lead of the game. Anderson looking for answers. Jonathan Barbary will have an opportunity to talk with his squad. This is the South Atlantic Conference Women's Basketball Quarterfinals, brought to you exclusively here on Flow College.
Our roots run deep here at Catawba College. So do our ambitions. We're pushing forward into life-saving, cutting-edge genomics research, powering up with geothermal heat and solar energy, going after national championships, and saying yes to the impossible, and then delivering on it. We don't just talk about saving the planet, revolutionizing education for the next generation, innovating business, unleashing creativity, or pioneering better, kinder, smarter healthcare. We do it. Good change starts here, with us. And it goes far. Just you watch. Catawba College, good goes far.
Mars Hill has matched its point total from the first quarter here in the second, shooting 60%. 8 shots taken inside the arc. The Lions were trying to adapt to Anderson's play style, taking more mid-range shots and shots from beyond the arc, and then decided to play their style, and it's worked out wonders for them, Ryan. Getting inside the paint, able to lay it in. Points in the paint up to 16 for the Lions.
Yeah, and I take it back to the stretch from Maddie Gilly, and a really nice response from her to, a bunny at the bucket, didn't fall, but then she went on a 5-point run of her own. It's kind of ignited this Mars Hill team in the second quarter.
Anderson looking to respond. They're still continuing to pound the paint, and it will work there from Rose Gravel.
Strong move from Gravel in the paint, bodied through the contact. Again, not expecting a foul call. If you get it, great. But go up strong in the bucket and finish strong.
10 points in the paint for the Trojans. A roll right side, wide open look, doesn't take it. Instead, bounce pass to L, restricted zone layup, and finds a high percentage shot and the bank off the glass.
Yeah, L starting to find her groove. 4 points, now 6 in this second quarter, and just a high quality look. Sealed her defender off and got to the bucket.
From the free throw line, Gravel can't find it. It's a 3-point lead for the lower seeded Lions. A foul in transition. Gravel, make that pass more. Can't believe it. Mars Hill looking to become the first and only team in the women's bracket to have an upset heading into the semifinals. It's been all chalk with seeds 1, 2, and 4 winning thus far on the women's bracket.
Yeah, Tyler, despite the lower seeding, you know just from looking at it that this is a high-quality matchup between two familiar teams that are pretty equal on the playing field. Just the seeding really doesn't matter in this one. I wouldn't call it an upset if Mars Hill's able to come out on top.
You know, got an opportunity earlier today to catch up with both Emery Satoris and Jonathan Barbary, and then to add on top of that, SAC Commissioner Patrick Britz, all of them shared the same sentiment, that this is a wide-open field that anybody can win. A lot of close games. Carson-Newman and Coker yesterday had closer games before both of them pulled away, showing why they were the top two seeds in the tournament. But a close game between Wingate and Catawba in game one of the women's quarterfinal today, and a close game here between Mars Hill and Anderson. Beautiful bounce pass from Passmore. Oh, my textbook on the dish to Rose Gravel to lay it in.
Yeah, Passmore now with 5 assists, 4 rebounds. She has 6 points. Just a great feed there to get the open look at the basket.
You don't often show a highlight reel assist, but that was it from Passmore. Solid block on the shot from Diamond McDowell.
Diamond, again, a presence in the paint. Gets her first block tonight. She's been stuffing the stat sheet, and just an absolute denial going to the basket. Brown thought she had her beat to the cup, but McDowell with a long reach took that opportunity away.
Long triple, nothing but net, Alicia Brown. Incredible three-point shot, just the second made three ball by the Lions. Both have come in this second period.
Brown tried getting to the bucket, couldn't do it on McDowell, said she'll try it from 3, and got it to go.
A foul called against the Lions, third of the quarter against Mars Hill, and it goes against Tatum Bowen.
That's 2 on Bowen. She's been a heavily used player off the bench. She thought it was an offensive foul on Sheridan with the hook. Didn't get the call. Now she's heading to the bench with 2 fouls.
Bowen, 2 fouls in 6 minutes of game action. Anderson will get the inbound, trailing by 4. Anderson led at the first quarter, break by 3. Inside to McDowell, a lot of contact, and I was going to say I'd be surprised if there wasn't a whistle. There is one against Arnold. It is Mars Hill's 4th. So from here on out, through the final 2.5 minutes of our quarter, Ryan, it'll be trips to the free throw line on any subsequent Mars Hill fouls.
Yeah, we saw it with Wingate in the last game, right? Wingate, when it couldn't get the offense going, it used the bonus to get to the line, and that's what Anderson does right here. Diamond McDowell now with 10 points, need 3 rebounds to be in the double-double territory before halftime. But we'll see how Anderson decides to attack here with that advantage to try and get to the free throw line and create some late offense.
Yeah, Diamond McDowell getting up to points 10 and 11. She's just 3 rebounds away from another double-double, which would be her 17th of the season. A roll off to the top of the key. Aaliyah L. has been the floor general for Mars Hill all season through all 17 wins. And a nice cut inside. Aaliyah L. showing that she can not only control the offense, but dictate the offense and is able to get a layup herself for her 8th point of the game.
Slow start for Elle, but she's really picked it up in the second frame. It's been a big part of the Mars Hill offense.
Passmore's 3 no good. McDowell right there with another board and another couple of points. Diamond McDowell inching closer and closer to a first half double-double.
She's been excellent. And another great rebound there, sky high, and putting it right back up and in.
Nice move there from Alicia Brown. Both teams are now filling up the score sheet. Moving quickly here. Another shot on the other end. Zamaya Passmore finds a way into the basket. Both teams on a red-hot pace. Mars Hill controlling after making its last 3 attempts at the basket. Both teams moving fast, and both teams are accurate. Creates for a fun back-and-forth ball game. About a minute to go in the first half. Big block there. Rose Gravel goes up and says, "Not today." On the other end, pass underneath. Diamond McDowell right there. Jonathan Barbary has dreams about that play.
What a sequence there. Gravel, a big swing across the body. It takes a lot for that not to be a foul, but got all ball and then pass more to McDowell, and now another turnover. Almost.
Loose ball. Mars Hill somehow recollects despite the ball being in the possession of Rose Gravel. Shot clock under 10, under 30 to go in our first half. Big three-point shot, and it's sank by Lauren Arnold. It reclaims the lead for Mars Hill on what is called a long two.
Tyler, it was a little concerning to start slow shooting for both teams, but we have a treat here in this last game of the quarterfinals.
Mars Hill shooting 64% in this quarter. That shot can't fall. Just 2 seconds to go. Buzzer beater attempt. No shot. No awareness of the clock was Daisy Gale, and no shot is put up by the Lions. However, it's the 6th seed, Mars Hill, the lone representative on both the men's and women's side at the SAC basketball championships, leading by 2 over the higher seed Anderson Trojans. A great battle that we have a whole nother half of. It'll be a fun one as Andrew Rogers, the third member of our crew, is having a conversation with Emery Satoris. And we'll send it down to Andrew Rogers.
Coach, 2-point lead at halftime. It took 4.5 minutes to settle in offensively, but once your team did, found a little bit of a groove. What'd you like about how they responded after a slow start?
You know, we're a super young team, and so this is the first time Mars Hill's been here in a really long time. And so I think just being in this atmosphere and realizing what we're doing here, it just took a minute for us to settle in. However, we're ready to be here. We want to be here. We knew we needed an opportunity, so we're ready to hopefully capitalize and play a good second half as well.
Really good defense throughout. Anderson shoots below 40% from the field. What'd you do well defensively, and how do you have to do that, or how do you maintain that in the second half?
Transition defense was a huge key for us coming into this game. They killed us in transition at Anderson just a couple weeks ago. We also know that they're excellent inside. So just that 1-2 punch with McDowell and Passmore, we knew we had our hands full, so I thought our girls are doing a really good job right now. I think they are.
Good luck in the second half.
Hey, thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
Andrew, we do have one development prior to the halftime break. The officials still at our replay monitor for an official review presented by Sky Coach, seeing if there was a foul prior to the expiration of the horn. And it looks like the call on the floor will stand for no foul. So Mars Hill officially enters the halftime locker room with a 2-point lead. Here was the final play where there is officially no call for the foul. Looks like there might have been there, Ryan. Walk us through that play, but also this first half as a whole.
Yeah, I think if there was time left on the clock, it would have been a foul. But I think if the foul did occur, it was after the horn expired. But talking about this first half, Tyler, I mean, it looked like we're off to another slugfest between two sides in the early going, back and forth. Not many shots falling for either side. But that has changed significantly, especially in that last little stretch of the first half. We really got a taste of what's to come in the last half of the quarterfinals between two very talented teams that are fighting for a spot in the semis.
Mars Hill leads by 2 at the halftime break. Coming up through our halftime coverage, we'll talk stats, what to look forward to in the semifinals, and then heading out, a conversation with Anderson head coach Jonathan Barbary. That's all coming up here on Flow College.
Max, it is a fun pursuit of wisdom. A wisdom to find joy and meaning for
Back here from the South Atlantic Conference Women's Basketball Tournament and South Atlantic Conference Basketball Championships. As we want to take a look at the women's bracket and our final quarterfinal, most of the semifinals are set. Final spot up for grabs between the Trojans and the Lions. Carson-Newman awaits. Know how good Carson-Newman is based off their win yesterday against Lincoln Memorial. But, Ryan, I want to talk to you about the semifinal we do know about. Coker and Wingate. Coker, a very good team. You talk about Shantiana, Shantiana Tillman, who was able to set a new career high yesterday against the Saints. Really going to be a difficult player to beat for Wingate. But on the other side, Wingate, led by Ann Hancock, one of the best coaches in the league, trying to take down Coker, who's been on a meteoric rise to success.
Yeah, you talk about Shantiana Tillman on Coker's side, but you got to also acknowledge Lainey Beal, a career high today against Catawba. I think that's a really interesting matchup. Wingate is going to have to shoot the ball better, that's for sure, in a game where Wingate really didn't shoot the ball all that well, but eventually able to weather the storms from a Catawba team that got behind early, saw some back and forth double-digit leads being traded back and forth. But it'll be an interesting matchup. We'll see. I don't know if Wingate necessarily has the legs tomorrow to keep up with Coker, especially on a back-to-back. But we'll see what it holds. Wingate was a champion last year for a reason and might have that again this year.
Carson-Newman, I want to point to that 2 seed right there. Carson-Newman has the distinction of being the only team to send both its women's and men's team to the semifinals. As we'll take a look at the men's bracket as well. Carson-Newman, the 5 seed, advancing to take on in-state rival in Lincoln Memorial. And Ryan, this is the fun part about tomorrow's men's semifinals. You have 2 rivalry games in both semifinals. Battle of Tennessee between Carson-Newman and Lincoln Memorial. Then a North Carolina Tar Heel clash between Lenoir-Rhyne and Catawba. The Indians with the upset of Coker earlier today.
Yeah, 2 really fascinating matchups between 4 quality teams. If you're here, you're a quality team. That's been decided at this point. Lincoln Memorial and Carson-Newman, really interesting matchup between those two. Lincoln Memorial swept the season series, but both times Carson-Newman had a shot at the Rail Splitters. At home, it was basically Lincoln Memorial wire to wire, but that was the opposite on the road. Carson-Newman led by double digits in the second half, but the combination of Wes Ennis and Elijah Freeman was just too much at the end of the day. That's quite the tandem to have. We'll see how Carson-Newman's able to deal with it. Now, LR and Catawba, that's a really interesting match. We saw Catawba today kind of out-athlete Coker a little bit. A lot of athleticism on Coker's end. Lenoir-Rhyne under Brent Owen in his first year. Really, really nice season for them. That 2 seed that led up to this point. But it begs the question, even though it was a day ago, does Lenoir-Rhyne have the emotional fortitude going forward to face off against Catawba and advance to the championship game after going down to the wire against Anderson?
Here's your storylines in that second semifinal, that 2:30 matchup. Lenoir-Rhyne coming off an overtime win, a thriller against Anderson in its first round matchup, in which Tay Smith hit a shot in overtime with 2 seconds left to win by 2 for the Bears and send them into that semifinal. Meanwhile, Catawba played Lenoir-Rhyne in overtime in a game in Salisbury. Got a chance to talk with Catawba head coach Rob Perrin earlier today, and the sentiment was, he said this word for word, which I was a little surprised about. We gave the game away when they played Lenoir-Rhyne in Salisbury in that game that went to overtime. The Bears did sweep the Indians in the regular season series, but it should be a fun matchup. You know what they always say, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. That sentiment is shared in both our men's semifinals as the field of 4 is set in the South Atlantic Conference.
Should be a really fun day in the semifinals between 4, again, quality teams. Storylines plentiful with these 2 matchups. It should be a really fun day tomorrow, and we'll see who can book their spot in the championship game.
All right, we'll step aside. Halftime here, Mars Hill leading by 2 over Anderson, 37-35. You're listening to the South Atlantic Conference Basketball Championships, brought to you exclusively here on Flow College.
Sure, we've been around a while, 171 years to be exact. We know the power of a liberal arts-based Christian education and the tremendous potential of what can be found on this campus, within this community. We are adventurers, dreamers, believers, passionate and compassionate, curious and clever, driven by a common purpose towards a common goal.
I found my passion.
I found purpose.
We are Carson-Newman.
What will you find?
We welcome you back to our broadcast coverage of the South Atlantic Conference Basketball Championships here on Flow College. Tyler Katz joined alongside Ryan Wilkes and the third member of our broadcast crew, Andrew Rogers. You'll be hearing from in just a little bit with Anderson head coach Jonathan Barbary. As we take a look at some first half stats, Ryan, what stands out to you as we take a look at our stat comparison?
What stands out early is Mars Hill's tendency early to shoot the three, got back to its bread and butter, getting to the basket, and that's where it found success. Catawba earlier fell in love with the three late, and it didn't pan out well for the Indians in that loss against Wingate. I think the message at halftime for Mars Hill has to be keep going to the bucket, keep getting shots at the rim, and Anderson's going to do the same. Anderson has kind of adopted that style of play here in this game with Zamiah Passmore going to the bucket. Same with Diamond McDowell, who's nearing a double-double already, 15 points, 8 rebounds. But point with Diamond McDowell, she picks up her third early in the quarter, could play a big role for Anderson going down the stretch as McDowell has 2 fouls at the halftime break. So we'll see what the second half has to hold. Not great three-point shooting for either side. 2 of the 4 threes have gone to Diamond McDowell, who's done a little bit of everything for this Anderson squad so far. So should be an exciting second half of action. Fair share of turnovers on both sides. Fast style of play for both teams so far. That's come to expect that with 2 teams playing a fast style of play. The turnovers might be plentiful, but other than that, it's been very well played basketball game between 2 quality teams.
Back and forth between the Lions and Trojans. Largest lead of the day has been no more than 5. That last came at the end of the first quarter when Anderson had a 16-11 advantage. Second quarter was won by Mars Hill in a 5-point differential. Compare that to a 3-point Anderson win of the first quarter, and that brings you to a 2-point lead for Mars Hill at the break. One thing I do want to mention, Diamond McDowell. We talk about her for a reason. Averages a double-double, has 16 of those on the year. The first-team All-SAC recipient is just 2 rebounds away from her 17th double-double of the year. The senior from Asheboro, North Carolina, leading the charge for Anderson. No real leading scorer for Mars Hill, Aaliyah L. You will often talk about her as the leading scorer for Mars Hill, but a bit of a surprise from Lauren Arnold, who's already matched her career high in points in the first half. It's the 3rd time in her career that she has collected 8 points in a game and looking to break her career high in the second half. We'll pause one more time when we come back. Start of the second half in a conversation with Anderson head coach Jonathan Barbary. Don't go anywhere. This is the SAC Women's Basketball Quarterfinals on Flow College.
If you want to win in every arena of college life, go D2. Make it yours.
Sure, we've been around a while, 171 years to be exact. We know the power of a liberal arts-based Christian education and the tremendous potential of what can be found on this campus, within this community. We are adventurers, dreamers, believers, passionate and compassionate, curious and clever, driven by a common purpose towards a common goal.
I found my passion.
I found purpose.
We are Carson-Newman.
What will you find?
Back here from the South Atlantic Conference Women's Basketball Tournament, our third member of our crew, Andrew Rogers, is standing by with the coach of the Trojans, Jonathan Barbary.
Thanks, Tyler. Coach, just a 2-point deficit at halftime, but you shot below 40%. What made life difficult on the offensive end?
You know, it's tournament play. You're always a little bit tighter in that first game, and I think we were that way. I don't think we were loose. Our shooters were not really catching it in rhythm. We were kind of throwing the passes a little all over the place, so just trying to get them settled down and keep shooting. That's what shooters do.
Biggest area you want to see your team improve upon to move to the semis?
I think you got to start with defensive rebounds. You got to hold them to one and done.
Okay, Coach, good luck second half.
Thank you.
Guys, back up to you.
Appreciate it as always, Andrew. Great stuff with JB and Ryan. Despite his team trailing at the half, you can just see by the way he talks about his team and the areas he wants to improve on, how good of a coach he is. Just in a quick 1-minute interview with Andrew there, you can see just how skilled Jonathan Barbary is at the head coaching position.
Yeah, I think the positivity is key. I think he understands this gym, a lot of the energy has left from earlier today, so the positivity to keep your team engaged in the game in a gym that's not entirely full anymore is big, because you can't get down on your team and be in that zone where, things aren't going perfect for Anderson, but they're going pretty well. And a 2-point game at the break, so I think he encapsulated this first half pretty well, doing better on the defensive glass and holding Mars Hill to one and done.
Before we start our second half, which is about 1 minute away, Ryan, what are you looking forward to from Mars Hill? They have the 2-point lead, but haven't quite found their hero yet.
I'm looking forward to a good second half from Aaliyah L. She really got going in that second quarter. I believe all 8 points came in that second frame, and she was able to pick up the pace offensively, as 6 of her 8 points came in the second quarter. Nonetheless, similar to what we saw from Janai Fossey, who got going in the middle to late part of that game. So excited to see the stars shine. Diamond McDowell and Zamaya Passmore have been on par to what we've expected out of them this year. And Diamond McDowell is a massive stat line so far. 15 points, 8 rebounds. Zamaya Passmore stuff in the stat sheet as well. 6 assists, 8 points, 4 rebounds. Going forward to what I expect from Anderson, I just expect a well-played second half between two teams fighting for semifinal position in the South Atlantic Conference tournament.
I want to bring your attention to our ties, lead changes, and time of lead. 3 ties, a ridiculous 7 lead changes through our first half. Mars Hill has led this contest for 7.5 minutes. Anderson has led it for just under 9. If that doesn't scream an even contest to you, I don't know what does.
That's a 2-point lead in the break for Mars Hill, but like you said, just about as even as you can get between these two sides. And Mars Hill had a chance of the bucket to make it a 4-point game to end the first half. Couldn't do so, and here we sit, 37-35, back ready to play for an exciting second half to finish quarterfinal action.
Anderson will have an opportunity to tie or take the lead on the first possession of the second half with the arrow in their favor at the end of the first, but a quick turnover and a takeaway by T.T. Harris gives it to the Lions. Fast break triple, bang, and my goodness, the speed by Maddie Gilly, and Mars Hill is able to extend it to a 5-point lead just 20 seconds in.
With the quickness of how she pulled that shot, she could have had a hand right in her face. She was going to shoot it anyway, and she did so with confidence in the 5-point game.
Mid-range jumper from Kyla Kane, the sophomore from Atlanta, gets the first points of the second half for the Trojans. Working with speed again, pass underneath to T.T. Harris. Free throw jumper from Brown is no good. Man, speed, speed, speed has been the name of the game for both teams as Sheridan tries to put one up, and it's no good.
We'll see if the pace of play keeps up here in this second half. It's been lightning fast since those slow starts between the two sides, and it's a similar start here in the second half.
A 3-point lead for the Lions, a chance to extend. Largest lead of the day has been 5 by Mars Hill. They won't get a chance to extend as a beautiful takeaway by Passmore sends it up the floor for the Trojans. A dish off, Passmore into the paint for McDowell. A roll off, and the L, the rare win at the glass against McDowell. Underneath, L couldn't get the layup to fall. Second chance opportunity from T.T. Harris is fouled on the way up.
Yeah, exactly what Jonathan Barbary talked about with Andrew at the halftime break, just limiting Mars Hill to one shot. Didn't necessarily have the numbers in the fast break, so it was an easy rebound there for T.T. Harris, and the foul puts her at the free throw line. But again, that's what JB wants to see here in the second half is defensive rebounding. Can't get one right there. Now 2 free throws for T.T. Harris.
Harris, a 60% free throw shooter through 2 seasons at the Hill. She'll make her first, and it's a 2-possession game. A chance to regrow the Mars Hill lead to its largest lead of the game, which she will. 42-37. The race to the half-century mark has seemingly been a barometer of how the game is going to go. I believe all 4 games yesterday, the winner of the race to 50 ended up winning that game as well. So a game within a game to keep our eyes on. As a foul on the way up, we'll see Zayna Preston head to the line.
Good take to the hole by Preston. Now 1 team foul each here in this third quarter. Tyler, we've seen in these past couple quarterfinal games, the bonus has played a big role in the third and fourth quarters. And you talk about the race to 50, it might be the race to who can get the other team to 4 fouls first to get that bonus going down the stretch in these last 2 quarters.
First shot rattles out from Zayna Preston. Freshman from Austell, Georgia, makes her second attempt. Back to a 4-point deficit for the Trojans, looking to at least send one of its 2 teams into the semifinals after the men fell in overtime yesterday to the 2-seeded Bears of Lenore-Rhine. A foul on the way up will send Mars Hill to the basket, and Ryan, Mars Hill, the women's side, the lone representative from Mars Hill. The men's team couldn't qualify for the field of 8. What does it mean for this Mars Hill women's side to be competing for school pride as their school's representatives here?
I think it means a lot for this program. Like I said, Coach Satoris, I think, has likely preached to her team, hey, this is the first time we've been here in a while, make it count. And the Mountain Lions have done that today and have built this lead over a really, really good Anderson team. Still a lot of time left, but I think if the game ended right now, you got to be proud of your team if you're Coach Satoris.
Couple of points coming up from the Mars Hill free throw line. Gets the total for the Lions up to 44. Largest lead of the day for Mars Hill stands at 6. 3 leading scorers. The leading scorer for Mars Hill today, 3 in 8. Lauren Arnold, Aaliyah L., as well as Maddie Gilly, all with 8. And we talk about Mars Hill sharing the love as it goes out of bounds on a Lion and a Trojan inbound. But I don't think something exemplifies team scoring more than having 3 players being your leading scorer into the third quarter.
Yeah, it's really solid stuff from Mars Hill. And Anderson's had a pair of really nice performances and some spread out scoring across the score sheet. But Mars Hill has been able to have a lot of players chip in. But a chance for Zamai Passmore to get into double digits should be the second double-digit score in this ballgame, both to Anderson. McDowell with 15, Passmore with a change for 10. But again, it's been Mars Hill that has had the larger spread of scoring here in this conference.
T.T. Harris booked on a foul that will see Passmore head to the line. Redshirt senior from Locust Grove, Georgia, transferred into Anderson from Lander University in Greenwood, South Carolina, so didn't end up making a long trip from Greenwood to Anderson, staying within the Palmetto State. Second shot, back iron, chance for more points for the Trojans, but instead it goes out of bounds on McDowell. Possession to Mars Hill.
A good hustle by McDowell there, but I really think you got to be careful on some of these defensive rebounds where you're reaching over top of somebody. Again, McDowell gets that third foul. She might be sitting for a little bit here in this third quarter, and Anderson already finds itself down 5. So got to be careful on some of those second chance opportunities.
Mars Hill comfortable playing at another hill from Mars to Rock, and look to be the first higher seed on the women's side of the bracket to advance to the semifinals. A traveling violation sure won't help the cause as it's a turnover back to the Trojans. The basketball goes.
A really good defense there. The help came on Gilly, who was driving the basket. It was Gravel there again, who's been on the back end of a lot of these solid defensive possessions. Had a big block earlier. And right there, it's not going to show up on the stat sheet, but just really nice help to keep Gilly from getting to the bucket.
Anderson looking for another shot. Big block by Aaliyah L. Anderson keeps the possession. Bounce pass inside Rose Gravel. Couldn't control it, but it goes out of bounds off of the arm of Lauren Arnold, the freshman from Mount Eula, North Carolina.
Tyler, I think on every possession, especially here in the second half, Mars Hill has had its hand in the passing lane, had its hand up on a shot. Just a lot of deflections, very active defense from Mars Hill.
Out of bounds yet again. It will stay with the Trojans. Aaliyah L. with the big block. She's got 2 on the day. That ties her career high in blocks. Jonathan Barbary drawing up a play. There are 12 seconds on the shot clock. Important here on the inbound, and it's an immediate shot from McDowell. It resets the shot clock. McDowell puts it back up, gets the and one to go, gets a rebound to add on to it, gets to her 17th point with a chance for 18 with a free throw coming up.
Yeah,
Lauren Arnold, by the way, sorry to cut you off, now in a bit of foul trouble with 3.
That's just Diamond McDowell in a nutshell. misses a shot, gets it back, and puts it back in. And 1 rebound away from a double-double. Right on her season totals, basically, with 18 points now and about 9 rebounds.
And you saw the disdain from Emery Satoris. Unable to believe the foul, put up the surrender cobra, as it's called. And it's certainly not surrendering is Emery Satoris. A foul put up. I think the most famous case of that, Ryan, do you remember the Michigan State football game, the famous Sean McDonough call on the block punt?
That was a classic. There's also a good one at the University of Virginia. There's been a lot of good surrender covers in our time, but certainly one of the least consequential surrender covers right there. Just disappointed with the foul call.
Exactly.
There's plenty of greats in the history of sports.
And back to the free throw line will certainly make Emery Satoris smile as Lauren Arnold puts up a free throw.
Tyler, it's been impressive here in the second half. Mars Hill has been able to stem the tide. He knew Anderson was going to come out fighting, but Mars Hill has been able to extend the lead further. Anderson now trying to claw back.
Long three-point shot, side iron, incredible rebound there from Mars Hill's Arnold. She's been having a great game here in the quarterfinals, but a turnover, quick bucket from Ashlyn Sheridan.
A good stuff there from Anderson. Again, not giving up on the play. Even early in the offensive possession, getting a turnover right there.
Under the basket, looking for a foul was Daisy Gale. Not on that attempt, but on the second chance opportunity. Goes up for the foul. Diamond McDowell will come up to plead her case. McDowell, her third. That would be a big loss if Jonathan Barbary decides to go to the bench to save McDowell.
Let's see here. Didn't get to see the foul, but nonetheless, it's the third on Diamond McDowell. That's a big one, Tyler. We talked about it. Playing the waiting game, saw a couple possessions where it was close. She didn't get called for, but that time she does. And now she has 3. It looks like for now she's staying in the game, which I think is the right call. But you pick up number 4 in the third quarter, and that's the problem area here for Anderson.
Lauren Arnold continues to add on to her career day. She's got 12, the leading scorer for Mars Hill, setting a new career high, and just continues to add up. Arnold, your early player of the game for Mars Hill.
2 career highs in back-to-back games. It seems like Rock Hill, the players are stepping up to the stage, and Arnold has done that here in the last quarterfinal matchup.
Shot from mid-range, and it's an easy nothing but net from Ashlyn Sheridan. Sheridan has stepped up in my opinion, one of the weirdest ways. She hasn't found it from outside the arc. She hasn't found it from inside the paint. But Sheridan nearly perfect from those mid-range jumpers.
Yeah, that's looked good for Sheridan inside about the 15-foot range. She's done a really nice job there for Anderson.
A lot of contact on L's strong layup. No foul call. Back out wide open triple for Brown. Rims out. Look for the offensive rebound was Arnold. Instead, it's taken the other way. Fast break opportunity for Passmore, who goes underneath. Hook shot can't fall. Second chance for Gravel is in. We're tied at 48.
Didn't go the first time for Passmore, but would have been a highlight play. Back to the basket, turns, lays it up. No good, but Rose Gravel, freshman of the year, right there to clean it up. And we got a brand new ball game tied at 48.
Winner of this game plays in less than 24 hours in the SAC semifinal against 2-seed Carson-Newman. Blocked by Gravel. She's called on the foul. Rose Gravel in a bit of foul trouble. She picks up her third.
Yeah, but again, Rose Gravel didn't get the start tonight. Jonathan Barbary obviously has that option on the bench. Less consequential than Diamond McDowell with 3, but 2 impact players with 3 fouls, and that's been kind of the storyline here in the third quarter.
Tied at 48 as we head to our third quarter timeout. We've got a fun one here in Rock Hill in our final quarterfinal. The final spot for grabs in the SAC women's semifinals between the Lions and Trojans here on Flow College.
On campuses nationwide, the NCAA is making transformative changes for student athletes. While they pursue their biggest dreams, we're launching new initiatives to help them. Life-changing education opportunities are just the start. The NCAA is providing enhanced mental health services. We're guaranteeing scholarships and tuition and expanding access to healthcare. Visit ncaa.org/change to learn more.
Back here at the SAC Basketball Championships, Mars Hill able to get a big 3-ball from Maddie Gilly, but the rest of the way in this third quarter, it's been Anderson. Mid-range shots and excellent communication. Ashlyn Sheridan, that mid-range jumper, has been working for her all day. And then our most recent addition was a big under-the-basket foul called and put back by Rose Gravel. Prior to the timeout, call on Rose Gravel with the foul, and it sends Elle to the free throw line.
Elle with an opportunity to get into double-digit scoring here. She'd be the first, other than Arnold, the second Mountain Lion to get into double-digit scoring.
Elle, a 68% free throw shooter on her career. She gets Mars Hill to the half-century mark, 50-48.
Again, Tyler, I want to talk about the big risk of keeping Diamond McDowell in this ballgame. We'll see if it pays off. Obviously, you're in the postseason. You got to take risks, and keeping Diamond McDowell in the game here is certainly a big one.
Interesting there as Anderson rolled the ball as if it was a late-game situation. Corner three finds its way into the net. Zamaya Passmore hits it from distance, and it's 51-50. Anderson reclaims the lead.
Yeah, Passmore in the double digits. She's now got 12 points and 6 assists, 6 rebounds. What a day it's been for her.
8th lead change of the ball game after the Passmore triple. Looking for the 9th was TT Harris, but she gets rejected by the rim, taken away by the Trojans. Another corner three. This one air balls.
Tyler, great job by Rose Gravel on that last Mars Hill offensive possession to stay straight up and not pick up that fourth foul.
Inside foul called, and there is yet another. Elysia Brown will head to the free throw line. Rose Gravel, freshman of the year, in trouble in the third. She's got 4.
The announcer's jinx, right? People always talk about it. Apologies to Rose Gravel, but she picks up her 4th, and she's headed back out of the game. Has 1 foul to work with. We'll see how Jonathan Barbary decides to use Gravel down the stretch.
So Elysia Brown hasn't had her best free throw shooting season. She's still pretty good, 70% this year, 74% on her career. First shot is true for Brown, the Virginia Beach, Virginia native, played at Salem High School of Virginia Beach. Oddly enough, 2 Salem high schools in the state of Virginia. She goes with the easternmost one. And her free throw gives Mars Hill the lead again. 9 lead changes today between the Lions and the Trojans. Backs off. McDowell comes inside. A foul called. Whistles aplenty. TT Harris gets the booking. It's her 4th. So now Anderson has Rose Gravel with 4, TT Harris with 4. Emery Satoris will go to the bench, And in a 1-point ball game, both coaches now having to deal with foul trouble. Both teams in the bonus. A hook shot hits off glass, ripped away, very aggressive. Oh my, Zamaya Passmore came in, called a jump ball, almost like a wrestling match was taking place at the free throw line. Incredible aggression by Zamaya Passmore there.
Yeah, what's a quarterfinal game without a little bit of chippiness? Nothing extracurricular, just pure competition out there on the floor. And good to see those 2 players competing, but obviously not getting into anything too extracurricular here in what's been a really, really solid basketball game.
Of course, not to compare it to a boxing match, but when the bell rings to end the round, you go off and respect each other as competitors, and there might have been a little
stare down there.
Chippiness, a little trash talking, but nothing more than that. Mars Hill with the lead, looking to extend it. Nice shot there taken by Jediah Peoples. Can't get it to fall. Other side, fast break, rim unfriendly to the Trojans, but the offensive rebound gives Oliver a 3. Back iron, 3rd chance for the Trojans. Oliver, 2nd attempt. She decides not to take it. And a travel called on Peyton Oliver.
The right idea, coaches typically say, in my experience at least, you miss it from outside, get it going at the rim, and eventually that 3 will fall. Oliver, good thought, but she took too many steps at the top of the key. Maybe not. It just looked a little awkward. I don't know if she traveled or not, but that's a call on the floor. Tyler,
So
again, on this possession, too, with Anderson, I feel like it's the first time in a while we've seen 2 quality looks not fall for the Trojans.
On the other end, a look does fall for Amaya Porter. Another freshman making moves for Satoris and the Lions. 54-51. Time winding down in the third period of play. A spot in the final semifinal up for grabs. A nice takeaway by the Lions. A look over, has a wide open Peoples, doesn't take it, and she walked.
Consistency from the officials. The same call essentially on Peyton Oliver. Borderline, but it's consistent, and it's a travel going back to Anderson.
Whistles have been fairly common today. 23 combined fouls between the two teams, let alone the traveling violations called on now back-to-back possessions on Anderson and Mars Hill. Call gets Anderson the ball back. A roll off right side, kiss off glass is too strong for Kyla Kane, and another whistle. Ryan, you don't want to say that it's a lot of whistles, but certainly more than your typical game.
Yeah, it's been a physical contest between these two sides, and waiting to see who that foul was on. It was a scrum down below, and now Tyler talked about it earlier. Anderson's in the bonus, minute 57 to play. We'll see how Anderson uses that advantage. Mars Hill's also in the bonus. So the equal advantage on both sides for these two teams. It's certainly been a trend here in these quarterfinal games for teams to take advantage of that bonus down the stretch.
After the free throw, Diamond McDowell with 19. She's looking for her 10th 20-point game of the year, and she's got it. 20 for Diamond McDowell. How about this, Ryan, of how good Diamond McDowell is? She's got 20. She's halfway to her career high.
She's excellent. She's proven that today. Still one rebound away from that double-double. We'll see if she can corral one more and secure it here in this ballgame.
Back iron goes L. Offensive rebound with space to shoot it. Jediah Peoples was surrounded by 4 Trojans and decided to take the shot. It works out and pays off for Peoples.
Smart play there. She knew Diamond McDowell has 3 fouls. Went at her, knew she wasn't going to have much of a contest.
Nothing but net for Zamaya Passmore, who is left all alone mid-range. This has been one of the closest and consistently close contests we've had through 2 days here at the SAC Basketball Championships on both sides of the bracket. Turnaround jumper, air balls from Peoples. 1 minute to go in the third quarter. Back out Oliver's triple. Hits off the glass, no good. Fight for the rebound, still nobody in possession. Poked in the eye on the play was Lauren Arnold. It will stay with the Trojans as Arnold hits the deck. So Arnold being looked at by her teammates. Anderson, the 5 on the floor, are screamed at Jonathan Barbary. And now Satoris will come all the way out to check on Lauren Arnold. We'll see what happened here. Yeah, just got poked in the eye on Peyton Oliver coming down for the rebound. Obviously, Ryan, nothing dirty, just an unfortunate consequence of the game.
Unintentional for sure, and it's tough to see Arnold have to go out. She's played really well, got in the line, which is what Mars Hill is looking to do here down the stretch in the third quarter. But hopefully Arnold's okay, able to come back in the contest. A tough break for Mars Hill here with under 50 seconds to play in the third quarter.
And this will take us to another break. 56-55, Mars Hill in front. Less than a minute to go in the third quarter here on the SAC Women's Basketball Quarterfinals on Flow College.
Mars Hill University, helping you move your mountain.
Mars Hill University gives me plenty of degrees to choose from.
At MHU, I get the attention I deserve.
MHU keeps me close to home, and there's tons to do in the mountains.
Over 60 courses of study, small class settings, a breathtaking campus. These are just a few examples of how MHU can help you start moving your mountain. Visit us today at mhu.edu. Mars Hill University, education that moves mountains.
Back here from the SAC women's basketball tournament. Prior to the break, a big play that saw Jediah Peoples go down. Both teams were calling for something other than what was called. Between a foul on Mars Hill was what Anderson was calling for, and a foul on Anderson, what was Mars Hill was calling for. It ends with an Anderson inbound.
Yeah, regardless of what the two teams wanted, we had the best angle. Nothing extracurricular there. Certainly the right call for it to be a no call.
I exactly agree with you, Ryan. Zamaya Passmore cashes in for two, gives Anderson back the lead with less than a minute to go here in the third quarter. 10 lead changes between the Trojans and the Lions. L controls, holding with 10 to shoot. L rolls off left side, back top of the key, triple, back iron, no good. Shot clock turned off on a pass back out. Another three ball taken. It's out of bounds. Foul called before the ball goes out. And it's another foul called on McDowell. It's her fourth here in the third quarter. McDowell, by the way, I know we're talking about her getting called on a foul, but forgot to mention that she did collect that 10th rebound earlier. She has another double-double on her line, her 17th of the year.
Not too sure how much she's going to be able to add to that line down the stretch. Now she's picked up her costly fourth foul with under 10 seconds to play here in this third quarter. It'll be interesting to see how Jonathan Barbary plans to navigate that down the stretch in this ballgame. Obviously checking out now, have to assume she'll be out first couple minutes of the fourth, and then we'll see what Anderson decides to do with her the rest of the way.
20 and 10, the points and rebounds for McDowell. She adds a 4 to that in the personal fouls category. Lesia Brown ties the game with the first free throw and reclaims the lead for the Hill on the second. 10 seconds to go, final possession of the third quarter. Rolling basketball picked up by Passmore. Back out Oliver, way beyond the arc, back iron, no good. L will hold it. Will she look for an opportunity? She'll just dribble it past half court to end the third quarter. It's a 1-point Mars Hill lead heading to the fourth, Ryan.
Yeah, Tyler, on that last almost heave from L, a lot of people must have seen Tori Rutherford yesterday and what she was able to do from beyond half court, because L was swarmed near the timeline. Good job by Anderson to prevent a final shot from getting off.
It's a 1-point lead for the Lions of Mars Hill. 10 minutes to go to decide who claims the final spot in the SAC women's basketball semifinals here on Flow College.
What is a lab of difference making? It's a place. A safe place. A safe place to explore and experiment. It's a place to focus and question your perceived notions. To step out of your comfort zone and be bold, brave, and different. Or to shake things up and try something new. It's Wingate.
Ten minutes to go. A lot of back and forth shooting between both teams. Saw Maya Porter get on the action. Of course, Aaliyah L is a big contributor, but the second chance points from Jediah Peoples certainly helped Mars Hill. Anderson trails by 1 despite winning the third quarter, 22-21. Ryan, this is one of our highest scoring affairs on the women's side of the bracket through 3 quarters of play.
Yeah, certainly it's been a high-flying offensive effort on both sides, despite the two teams shooting 38 and 37% respectively. I think the percentages aren't really telling to some of the shot making we've seen in this contest. One point of emphasis here in this fourth quarter, Jessica Cooper checking in for the first time, looking to deal with the absence of Diamond McDowell with 4 fouls.
Jonathan Barbary, JB, certainly a difficult fourth quarter to coach through, but Zamaya Passmore certainly makes his job a little bit easier when she can do things like that and get the and one opportunity.
A lot of pieces on this Anderson team. Don't want to discount any of them. They're really quality team all the way around. But Passmore and McDowell have been excellent tonight. And now 18 for Passmore with a chance for her 19th.
Passmore already surpassing her season average. She can't add on to it there, and it's just a 1-point lead for the Trojans. 12 lead changes today. Story of the game has been second chance opportunities on offensive rebounds. A quick defensive rebound by Ashlyn Sheridan on the Mars Hill end of the court. In transition, Passmore mid-range J is true, and it's up to a 3-point lead for Anderson.
She's feeling it. It's a 4-0 run out of the quarter break for Zamaya Passmore. And here we go, Tyler. The two sides are picking up the intensity here in the fourth quarter.
35 points in our contest today have been off offensive rebounds from both teams. 18 belong to Mars Hill, 17 for Anderson. We talk about points in the paint. Fairly similar. Anderson has been dominating that category. I shouldn't say dominating, leading that category 28-26, filling up the basket from inside the lane.
Tyler, great on-ball defense, from Zamaya Passmore on this possession. She denies Daisy Gale of a drive to the rim, and now the two matched up again with 10 seconds on the shot clock.
A pass back out, thought about a triple, was Arnold. Instead, she comes back in. Good to see her back in the game after going down, after being poked in the eye in the previous quarter. Zayna Preston goes up the floor, is able to grab the bucket, and without Diamond McDowell on the floor, the Trojans are charging, forcing Emery Satoris to call a timeout. And we'll take the timeout alongside them. Anderson has built the lead up to 5 here in the fourth quarter, on a 6-0 run to begin the final frame of our game today. Trojans up 5 here on Flow College.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
This place has a heartbeat of its own.
The vibe that you get when you walk into the student center, you just get a vibe that you're here at home.
It's given me opportunities that I never thought I'd have. Everyone here knows everyone. That atmosphere is infectious.
The relationships that I've built here have been phenomenal, and I know that they'll last beyond here at Wise.
It's a magic little place in the mountains.
Back here from the South Atlantic Conference Women's Basketball Tournament, 3 quarterfinals down and 3 quarters of a fourth quarterfinal also in the past. As we take a look at some of our stat comparisons, big point of emphasis, second chance points, 18 for Mars Hill, 17 for Anderson. 14 offensive rebounds apiece have certainly been racking up the offensive glass for both sides. Big steal there by Kyla Kane, and the Trojans going the other way with a 5-point lead. Foul called on the way. Count the basket as well. Zamaya Passmore showing off.
She's in takeover mode now with no Diamond McDowell. And looked like the foul might have been on the floor there. A little continuation coming into play here. Nonetheless, Passmore has been the key cog to this run for Anderson to build this 7-point lead, and she's got a chance for another.
Passmore becomes the leading scorer for Anderson. She has 22 with a chance to extend that to 23. Passmore's free throw and the old-fashioned three-point play is completed.
Tyler, one thing to keep an eye on going down the stretch here. Not sure there's enough time to do it, but 3 assists and 2 rebounds. Zamaya Passmore would have a triple-double.
A shot on the other end from Aaliyah L. The fist goes in the air for a foul call coming against Kyla Kane. It's Kane's first, second for Anderson here in the fourth period. Mars Hill trailing by 6. Largest lead for Anderson, just 2 points. Leading by 8. It is the largest lead of the day for Anderson, no longer as the first free throw is good from Aaliyah L.
2 big free throws here to get the deficit back to 6. Try and re-inject a little momentum as she knocks down the second. And Mars Hill needed some stops here down the stretch. Still 8 minutes left, but obviously we've seen the momentum shift almost full force to Anderson's direction.
8 minutes to go. Anderson in the latest regional rankings from the NCAA, 7th in the conference. Driving towards the basket, Samaya Passmore just too good today. If the season were to end today, by the way, in the Southeast Regional Tournament, Anderson would take on Coker, who they have a chance to see if both teams advance to the SAC championship game.
Passmore in takeover mode now. As I mentioned, Mars Hill needs something to stem the tide here in the fourth.
Shot goes up for Mars Hill, can't fall. Other end triple, Preston can't get it. It's out of bounds off of Kyla Kane, the sophomore. Mars Hill basketball. The Lions need to find a possession here. Things have not gone well for the Lions. 0 of their first 3 shots here in the final period.
So Preston's missed 3. Would it give Zamaya Passmore her 8th assist? She's now 1 rebound off of a double-double. Would be the second double-double for Anderson. 1 from McDowell, 1 from Passmore.
Anderson knows what it takes to win in the tournament. Runner-up 3 of the last 5 years, looking for its first title since 2019. L couldn't get the friendly roll off the iron. It's going the way of the Trojans. Mars Hill, meanwhile, looking to make a run in this tournament. The Lions haven't been to the South Atlantic Conference Championship game in more than 2 decades. 2002 was the last appearance for the Lions in the biggest game in conference play.
Regardless, Tyler, I mentioned it earlier, Coach Torres has to be proud of this team's effort to get here and break the seal of a stretch in which Mars Hill didn't make the tournament for a while. Here they are trying to make a late surge and get back in this contest.
Offensive foul called against the Trojans. Kyla Kane booked on the foul, her second. Here's the shaky part for the Trojans. 3 team fouls, make that 2 team fouls for Anderson. You don't want those to get up to 5 and give Mars Hill potential free opportunities at the line. Mars Hill already 19 points have come from the stripe and a perfect 19 of 19 from the line for the Lions.
That's been a strength for Mars Hill, and in a quarter where there's not been a lot of shot making, you're hoping you can get back to the line. As a foul there, it's the third of the quarter on Anderson, 1 more, and the bonus would be back in effect for Mars Hill.
Becomes the third on Anderson. I apologize, Ryan. I think I tripped you up. I misspoke a little bit earlier on the foul calls. So 3 on Anderson, 2nd on Sheridan. Nice takeaway there for the Trojans. Wide open look for Izzy Profit, and an offensive.
Looks like she might have stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, I believe she stepped out of bounds. Apologies on that whistle there. Either way, it's a turnover by Profit. It is the 12th turnover against the Trojans today, not as much as Mars Hill's 13. Running with speed is Daisy Gale, hands it off, gets a foul call. That is now the 4th. But it sends Mars Hill to the line, so it gets essentially Mars Hill into the bonus a little bit earlier than planned. On the 4th team foul becomes a shooting, gets them to the line. From here on out, it's free throws for Mars Hill on any Anderson fouls.
And it's also almost forcing Mars Hill to go back to its bread and butter, which it's gotten away from a little bit in this 4th quarter. Mars Hill now is going to want to go to the bucket and create contact and get back to the line. So Mars Hill might have an avenue to getting back in this contest in the 4th quarter.
20 points for Mars Hill have come from the stripe after the first is good from Daisy Gale. She's got 7. Freshman from Murfreesboro goes 2 of 2. 21 of 21 at the stripe for Mars Hill, and will certainly be thanking the time in the gym spent putting up free throws if Mars Hill ends up pulling this one out.
Yeah, that's been a huge tally for Mars Hill. 10 more points to the line than Anderson with 11 and 15 at the free throw stripe. Certainly a huge advantage and something you can capitalize on down the stretch.
Roll off to the right, Samaya Passmore, loose ball. Awkward pass inside the paint, but finds the target in Kyla Kane. Just couldn't get that layup to go either. A long three on the other end. Maddie Gilly wasn't there. A foul called on Anderson yet again. Big foul trouble now. This one's called on Passmore. It's only her third, but it officially puts Mars Hill into the bonus.
Now Mars Hill has that advantage, and 2 free throws now at the line to cut the deficit back to 4. It looked like Anderson had gotten what it needed, had tossed the last haymaker, but here's Mars Hill ready to get back in the game and create a surge near the end of this ballgame.
In South Atlantic Conference tournament history, with a minimum of 17 attempts, only 4 teams have gone perfect from the free throw line, and wow, I apologize. The announcer's jinx strikes again.
We can thank Andrew Rogers for that. Andrew Rogers
He did point it out to me.
information.
However, I will be sending a handwritten apology note to the people of Mars Hill.
Not to mention 2 misses there from the free throw strike. So double announcer's jinx. We'll put this one on Andrew Rogers.
Well, either way, 4 teams have gone a perfect percentage at the free throw stripe. Mars Hill had a good run of it, but it won't last into the media timeout of the 4th. On the other end, Anderson gets another bucket. Zamaya Passmore with 27. She's been going off.
What a move there by Passmore to shake off her defender.
Long triple. A Tatum Bowen 3 ignites some life onto the Mars Hill bench. It's just a 5-point lead for Anderson after the 3 ball.
Right when you think Anderson, again, is pulling away in this one, Mars Hill has an answer to keep it close. We'll see what the Mountain Lions can do here down the stretch, but first, you got to get a stop, and there's Diamond McDowell back in the contest.
Foul called on Mars Hill. It will be the 3rd against the Lions today, and it's on the floor. It goes up against L. Second foul on L. To reset your foul trouble, Rhodes Gravel and Diamond McDowell both on the floor for Anderson. A foul away from fouling out of the ballgame. T.T. Harris for Mars Hill also on the floor with 4. McDowell, who we have not seen for this 4th quarter majority of the way through due to her foul trouble, dishes it off to Passmore, the leading scorer, who fires a 3 ball. Tried to get the bank, couldn't get it, gets her own rebound. Passmore now has a double-double herself. Her 4th of the season. 7 to shoot, she cuts inside, nearly takes a knockout blow to the face, and a technical foul called on Aaliyah L.
Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong, but she just picked up her 3rd. The technical would give her 4th. So a massive possession. She picks up 3 fouls while Anderson has the basketball. That is crucial. And not only that, Anderson's going to get free throws in the ball.
I mean, it looked like a boxer's uppercut there. I don't know if I see any intent there. Either way, it was a lot of hard contact against Passmore.
Well, we saw the interaction earlier, I think, between, maybe it wasn't L, but there was some physicality early in the contest, and now we see it come to a head. As we see the explanation, a little bit of a swipe across the arms of Passmore that sent her spilling to the deck. And that's extremely costly here in this contest.
A technical foul has also been assessed to number 2 of Mars Hill. That is Aaliyah L's 4th personal.
So 2 fouls.
As you hear the public address announcer here at the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center, 2 fouls at once for Aaliyah L. It now puts T.T. Harris and Aaliyah L. with 4 fouls each, plus technical free throws coming up, and a technical against L. Regardless, the next against L is the end of her night. Samaya Passmore at the line, a 68% trip at the stripe.
She essentially picked up 3 fouls in one possession. The earlier foul on the ball, or she pushed Diamond McDowell in the back. She gets 2 there on the technical and the personal foul. Just a costly error late in the ballgame for Marshall.
It extends the Anderson lead up to 7. More technical free throws coming. Izzy Profit steps up to the line, the best free throw shooter on this Anderson roster, 86% from the stripe as the freshman from Jackson, Tennessee. Anderson continues to extend the lead. It is the largest lead of the game for Anderson at 8. And that lead will continue to grow. Profit, the best free throw shooter on that Anderson bench, comes into the game for those technical free throws and will check right back out. JB, Jonathan Barbary, knew exactly what he was doing there.
Yeah, strategic there to get your best free throw shooter in the game. Important points as Anderson, just like that, it was a 5-point game, and now Anderson a chance to make it a double-digit ball game.
74-65, largest lead of the game for Anderson. Mars Hill work to do with 4 to go. Trojans hand it off to Sheridan. Inside to McDowell. From the free throw line, jumper misses everything. Nice save by Rose Gravel to get it back to McDowell. Her hook shot no good. Gravel there with the rebound again. Whistles again, calming both benches. Trying to read the officials' hand signals here. And I think there's confusion between not only the teams, but the officials as well.
Tyler, on that first shot from McDowell, right there, it didn't hit the rim. Could be a shot clock thing here. But a whistle, it looked like Gravel had plucked that rebound over the back. But it seems like there is certainly a shot clock discussion being had here between the officials and the score table. Good for the official to get on top of it and stop play, despite to the displeasure of the two benches.
The officials did not immediately go to the monitor, instead went over to the official book and a shot clock operator, and now they will go to official review presented to you this entire tournament by Sky Coach.
Hey, how about a shout-out real quick for our guy Andy Losi down there doing some work. Worked for Lenore Ryan the past 2 years. Now he's here helping out in the SAC tournament, operating the replay today. As we take a look at it right here, again, trying to figure out what this stoppage is about. See what I'm saying with the over the back there, potential call. That's not the call they're looking at. They're looking at something with the clock here.
And they have a great view of it, by the way, in the background. It looked like it was reset to 30 seconds when McDowell got possession. It goes out of frame for just a moment. And it looks like that's where the discussion is. So, unfortunately, we don't have a look at the shot clock on that play. As it stands right now, it is a 9-point lead for Anderson, looking to set up an all-chalk semifinal between the top-seeded Coker Cobras. The 4-seed Wingate Bulldogs have already punched their ticket earlier. And here's another look at that play. Never hit rim, and that shot clock, it looks like you can see almost the reflection on the backboard there that it got reset after that shot. So I think you're exactly right. This is something to do with the shot clock, but Wingate and Coker playing each other at 5 o'clock tomorrow night. 7:30, Carson-Newman in attendance. Mike Mincy, head coach of the Carson-Newman Eagles, watching this game closely, seeing if he can pick up on any weaknesses for the Lions and the Trojans.
Yeah, before we talk about the matchups tomorrow, let's just take a second to acknowledge all the hard work put in by everybody involved to have this here at the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center, from the graphics to our work here to the operational work delivered by the South Atlantic Conference crew. It's just been an excellent experience so far. Jeremy Zalaka, Patrick Britz, Brooks Ledger, all those guys involved, and our people here getting the work done. But to talk about those potential matchups, if the game ended now, it would be Anderson and Carson-Newman tomorrow, and that presents a really interesting matchup. One of the more wacky endings that you'll see to a game in Holt Fieldhouse, when Diamond McDowell, I believe, had a heave at the buzzer that hit off the shot clock and went in. Obviously, it doesn't count, but if you're Anderson, you're really hoping it would. And now we have our explanation here. The shot clock is back to 4. It reset to 20 when the ball didn't hit the rim. So all ironed out. We're back ready for play.
Back connection, and also a thank you to the game ops staff from Winthrop University in Rock Hill, lending their help on the stats side as well. turnaround. McDowell loses it for a second. Shot clock goes off, and it's a violation. Anderson knew it only had 4 seconds to get a shot off, and when McDowell bobbled it, you knew it was going to take a miracle to get a shot that would hit off iron.
Yeah, unsuccessful there, but you'll take the 4-point possession if you're Jonathan Barbary and his crew. Again, going back to that error, just costly down the stretch, and Anderson leads by 9. McDowell back to the basket, was looking to get something going, but a double team helped that possession stop the bleeding, and only 4 points for Anderson on that possession.
Shooting hasn't favored either side today. Anderson leads the category, a 40% team from the field today. Certainly will need to get a few shots up in the gym for either side, Mars Hill or Anderson, before the matchup against Carson-Newman tomorrow. TT Harris on the score sheet for the first time in a while. She's been on the bench with 4 fouls.
And her 10th rebound, and I think that might have been part of the mindset of Maddie Gailey, who just put up a 3. Saw TT Harris down there, gave her a chance to get the second chance board and clean it up. Back to a 7-point game with just over 3 to play.
Preston back out Gravel, thought about a triple, instead hands it off to Passmore, feeds the hot hand, gets a heat check off the back iron.
Chance for Anderson here to regain some momentum and tighten the hatches again here late in this ball game.
Elle was double teamed, didn't decide to go to any of the help that was available to her beyond the arc, but instead gets a whistle on an out-of-bounds call off of a Trojan, and inbound coming for the Lions with 19 to shoot.
Not a bad idea there for Elle to try and go into the body, create some contact against Sheridan. Again, both Mars Hill and Anderson in the bonus down the stretch here. Elle back in the game with 4 fouls.
Clock will start into the backcourt on an inbound pass that Elysia Brown will accept. A nice dribble move into the basket. Elysia Brown making it look easy.
She pulled it back out and was ready to set up the offense. Then she saw who was defending her. Diamond McDowell was on her, took it to the bucket, got 2 points. He's back to a 5-point game.
5 points, all that separate the Lions and Trojans with 2.5 to go. Anderson has been the most fun team to watch on the men's and women's side as Samaya Passmore lays it in. Oh no. And now there's a concern as Passmore holds the left calf. Believe just a cramp here as Passmore gets to 31.
Yeah, always a concern when a player is holding his or her lower leg. That time, Passmore maybe just cramped up on that drive to the bucket, working on Brown. You see it right here. Came down a little awkwardly, but she's seems to be okay. And again, Passmore, just excellent stuff from her. 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists off of a triple-double. Probably not enough time to get to that tally, but still, just a stat-stuffing performance from the Anderson point guard.
You know what was fun to watch just then? JB, Jonathan Barbary, looked over to Passmore and said, "Are you coming out?" And Passmore shook her head defiantly and said no, she's not leaving this game. With the Trojans in the quarterfinals, Aaliyah L goes down the floor and scores for the Lions. We're back to a 5-point game with 120 seconds to go in regulation.
You're back in need of stop territory, though, if you're Mars Hill, as Gailey looks to come out and trap.
McDowell, nice dribble move. Off the glass, no touch on the rim, so the shot clock did not reset there. Either way, it goes out of bounds, and it's Mars Hill basketball. Anderson men gave us our lone overtime game of the SAC basketball championship so far. And Mars Hill certainly hoping they can either take the lead or force the Anderson women to also go to the overtime period. It looks like we'll get a review on, I believe, if this hit the rim. It certainly did not look in real time like it was anywhere close. But we're going back to the monitor. Official reviews in the South Atlantic Conference Basketball Championships presented by Sky Coach.
Not sure what the change would be here. It did hit the rim. It got a little piece of the rim. But it's going to Mars Hill. The shot clock would be at 30 seconds regardless. But you see it did glance off that far side of the iron.
Oh, I wonder.
Also maybe looking at maybe a potential touch.
I was about to say, this could be on who touched it last, but the replay going back as far as the shot certainly didn't hit iron. The conversation for me would be which way is it going? And it looks like it hit off Aaliyah L., which would be the opposite direction of where the ball is currently going. This is our best angle here.
I don't think it did. The ball didn't change trajectory or anything. I think this is a crucial call right here, obviously, with just over 95 seconds left to play. Obviously, you see there, referees taking a close look at it, doing their due diligence here late in this ball game. But from our angle, Tyler, I don't know if there's enough to change that call. I think Mars Hill would be heavily displeased with a change in ruling.
It is one of the biggest calls of the game as Anderson leads by 5 on Mars Hill. The Lions desperately need this call to go their way. It looks like it was correct on the floor.
And Tyler, it's regardless, again, I've said it all night. Mars Hill's efforts tonight should not go unrealized despite what the potential result may be as we continue to look at this replay. But after that technical foul on Aaliyah L., the best player picks up her 4th foul. How do you respond from that? And Mars Hill's done a great job. Gotten the deficit back to 5. L still in the game. You got a minute 35 seconds. If you pick up your 5th, that is what it is at this point. So it should be an exciting last minute and a half.
By the way, great shot of what the officials are looking at there. Our baseline camera operator, Itzi Ayala, getting that shot for us, showing you exactly what the referees are seeing in real time.
So it looks like we might have a ruling here. Shot clock's back to 30, so I think possession will stay with Mars Hill. And probably the right ruling there, but again, good to take a look on a possession that's important for both teams. Anderson trying to put it away, Mars Hill trying to claw and throw their last punch and try and get back even in this contest.
Inbound pass as Mars Hill controls.
We're still playing music. Late night, easy to mess up here late because the teams will reset in your half court.
90 seconds to go. And well, it does allow Zayna Preston to come into the game, so the musical miscue.
Help out Anderson a little bit there.
Yeah. 90 to go. Mars Hill trails by 5 with possession of the rock. Inside, a lot of contact. Offensive foul will get an explosion of celebration from the Anderson bench. Foul called on Maddie Gilly. It's her first, so surprisingly in a game full of fouls, Gilly, who's played a majority of the minutes, is booked on her first.
And it's Rose Gravel, the freshman, to come over and absorb the contact. Just textbook stuff from a first-year player.
Other way, Sheridan, long pass, intercepted, tipped ball, kept in bounds. Great play by Tatum Bowen. Short full court press, over to L. Restricted zone layup is true. We're seeing decimal points here in Rock Hill in a one-possession contest between the Trojans and the Lions. Timeout, JB. Jonathan Barbary calls just his first timeout of the contest. It's a 30-second timeout. Ryan, we're getting down to the wire. It's a 3-point lead for Anderson after a big few baskets from the Trojans.
Yeah, you look at this highlight reel from Zamaya Passmore. What a night it's been for her. But again, 31 from Passmore, 20 from McDowell, and it's a one-possession game. I think that really speaks to Mars Hill's resiliency. Because on a night like this, typically, if you get this output from your 2 best players, you show me those 2 tallies, I think it's a blowout. But Mars Hill has had the divided scoring, spread it out around multiple players. But not to take away from Passmore and McDowell, who have been nothing short of fantastic. Going in that timeout, you see Jonathan Barbary had a discussion with Ashlyn Sheridan, a productive conversation, wasn't yelling at her, just telling her, got to be smarter with the passes down the stretch here in this ballgame.
Zamaya Passmore and Diamond McDowell both with double-doubles. Zamaya Passmore, a new career high for rebounds in a game. She's got 11. And we're back to the replay monitor, as always presented and brought to you here at the SAC Basketball Championships by Sky Coach.
Selfishly, it's late, you want to go home, but it's good that these referees understand the levity of this ball game. 2 teams fighting for a bid in the South Atlantic Conference Tournament semifinals. It's a timeout anyway. Take the time to look at it.
And not only that, but also fighting for regional consideration. Anderson 7th in the latest Southeast regional rankings by the NCAA for who gets a bid in the big dance.
Not, I wouldn't say a must-win for Anderson, but a game that you want to win to feel a little bit safer with it getting down the wire. Postseason NCAA tournament play is coming up real soon.
It is Anderson basketball, guarded by Bowen, came the inbound. Passmore, player of the game for the Trojans, controls on the left wing. Taking as much time as she can off this clock with the Lions trailing by 3. Passmore on the left side. She breaks towards the basket, guarded by 3 Lions. It rims out. Shot clock and game clock separated by 3 seconds as Mars Hill calls a timeout to advance the basketball.
See the frustration by Passmore. Great look. I don't think would have put the game away, but it would have made it a 2-possession game. And tough break that didn't fall. But Mars Hill's within 3. 30.7 to go. We'll see what happens.
A 3-point contest. Anderson has outscored Mars Hill here in this 4th period by 4 points, have outscored Mars Hill in the second half by 5 after Mars Hill went into the locker room with the lead at the halftime break. Want to point to our stat comparison. Ryan, take a look at those second chance points, second row from the bottom.
Yeah, it's been a part of the game for both sides, that and getting the free throw line. You can combat shooting struggles with the ability to get to the line. Both teams have shot well from the line, 15 points for Anderson and 21 for Mars Hill. We did jinx them on the perfect free throw shooting percentage, but it's still been a big part of their offense here in this ballgame. But here we go, 30.7 to go.
36 combined points in this contest have come from the stripe. Shot clock, game clock separated by 3. Mars Hill with the ball trailing by 3. Turnaround jumper looking for contact. Offensive rebound. Back out. Bowen's triple off glass. No good. Third opportunity. Pass back out. Shot clock is off. Throw up a heave. It airballs. Rebounded by Passmore and a foul call. Just not quite the look that Maddie Gilly wanted.
A little rush there. You got 12 seconds. I get trying to put one up there. Your team's rebounded well. But a little bit rush of a shot here, and still some time left on the clock. Probably could have gotten a little bit of a better look there late in this contest.
Timeout used to advance the ball by Jonathan Barbary. His second used timeout. Or I'm sorry, there was a foul called on the other end. My apologies there. The way the official was talking to JB, I thought he had used it. But there was a foul called. That goes on Gale. It's her third, and it brings Passmore to the line. Mentioned a 69% free throw shooter, 68 on her career. This would make it a 2-possession game, and she makes the first after hitting every part of the iron.
That's a big one. You get that one out of the way. It's a 2-possession game now, limited time left on the clock. Obviously, this would be another big one to make it a 5-point game.
Both are true from Zamaya Passmore. Timeout Mars Hill. Passmore has 33 in the contest today, nearing closer to career highs in rebounds, which she has already surpassed. A career high in rebounds with 12. She's got 33 and a double-double. Surprisingly, Ryan, just her 4th double-double of the year.
Yeah, she's really been all over the floor tonight. She's been what Anderson has needed. Dealing with the absence of Diamond McDowell for a little bit. As we look back at the stats again, the shooting hasn't really been there for either side, especially from 3. Just 9 combined threes, 4 for Mars Hill, 5 for Anderson. But again, the ability to get to the free throw line, second chance points, and creating off turnovers. Mars Hill with 20 points off 14 Anderson turnovers. Anderson with 14 points off 14 Mars Hill turnovers. So the hustle stats have really played a big role in this game and produced a fairly high-scoring contest between two sides shooting under 40%.
Yeah, you look at Anderson, talk about 3 steals as well from Zamaya Passmore. And this has just been an incredible second half. Passmore, 25 points come in this second half. She's really lit up the score sheet in quarters 3 and 4. A timeout by Mars Hill to advance the basketball. The Lions have 1 remaining. 10.2 on the clock, trailing by 5 are the Lions. Just need a quick bucket of any type. Gilly gets it underneath the basket, too strong, and it's ripped away by McDowell. She'll dribble, play keep away. She's finally fouled by Maddie Gilly, and it looks like the clock is running out on the Hill.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Coach Satoris' squad and what's been a really nice year for Mars Hill. But nonetheless, you know, Anderson fought for this win. Unless something incredible happens, that's the result we're going to see, and there'll be another matchup between Anderson and Carson-Newman tomorrow.
Well, Ryan, you take a look at this Mars Hill roster. Aaliyah L., a sophomore. T.T. Harris, a sophomore. Maddie Gilly, really your only big senior, and she was a part of that 1-in-25 squad we mentioned at the Open. She's one of two seniors other than Camila Contreras, who has not seen the floor this year for Mars Hill. So even though Anderson looks like they will take this one to the bank with an 80-73 lead, timeout called by Coach Satoris, the future is bright. Getting into the tournament field for the first time since 2016, other than the COVID tournament when everyone got in. This is just step one. I mean, this is a young Mars Hill team, and if they're this good already, just imagine what they're going to be like in a year's time.
Certainly a team to be feared going forward in the South Atlantic Conference. You know, you got a lot of teams with experience and win-now potential. Mars Hill has been able to win now with a youthful team. You look at a team like Carson-Newman that's losing a lot of talent and has to restock going into next year. Mars Hill doesn't have to deal with that. So it's an advantage to the Mountain Lions and a good momentum builder for the program to have success this year, and you've got to take that away for Coach Satoris and her squad.
Still 3.2 to play with. It's a 7-point lead for the Trojans. Looking for an inbound pass is Daisy Gale. She'll find Gilly, who puts up a heave. And the buzzer will sound. The Anderson Trojans moving on to the South Atlantic Conference semifinals. Trying to make it to the title game yet again. Runner-up in last 3 of the past 5 tournaments, winning the title in 2019. The Trojans will look to win their second title in 6 years with a win tomorrow over Carson-Newman and a win on Friday over the winner of Wingate and Coker. Ryan, I want to quickly talk to you about Mars Hill. What a season Coach Satoris has had.
Yeah, we just briefly talked about it in the youth of this squad, and you face off with an Anderson squad that just the power of Diamond McDowell and Zemiah Passmore was just too much, and Mars Hill couldn't overcome it. But a great showing for the Mountain Lions, and you got to be proud if you're Coach Satoris.
The third member of our broadcast crew, Andrew Rogers, is catching up with the winning head coach, Jonathan Barbary, familiar with the postseason Carson-Newman Eagles. We'll see what he says with Andrew Rogers. Andrew with head coach Jonathan Barbary.
All right, thanks, guys. Coach Zemiah Passmore, she was the all-league player that she was named to be an all-region player last year. Showed why in that second half with 25 points, 33 in the game. What impressed you the most about her performance, not just scoring the ball, but rebounding it and passing as well?
Yeah, you know, honestly, she's a gamer. You know, she always has been. I can't take credit for any of that. She's been that way since she was a high school player. She was that when she was at Lander for Coach B. She's just a gamer. And, you know, when she turns it on, sometimes it's amazing how she can make everyone look better. I mean, you know, Rose was phenomenal this year as a freshman, but a lot of that has to do because Z has vision that I've never seen before, where she can find you in the right places.
Had to navigate some foul trouble. Diamond McDowell went out of the game for an extended period of time. Why was your group able to maintain, extend the lead with another all-SAC player off the floor?
You know, honestly, that was luck. Because I put, you know, we went small, right? They had went small. So timing-wise, we were lucky we could match with them with 4 guards in a post because they went 4 guards in a post. And it was, honestly, both teams did not look very good at that moment. We went a little stall, like 68-60 for probably 3.5, 4 minutes, but it gave us just enough.
All right, a familiar foe in the South Atlantic Conference Tournament, 4th year in a row. You'll face Carson-Newman this year in the semifinals. What's the next 24 hours look like before you face the Eagles at 7:30 tomorrow night?
Honestly, rest, right? You know, they got to play a day ahead, so they got a day's rest. Our game was super tight, so we spent a lot of energy, you know, and that's where it's going to come. And, you know, doing well tonight, eating right, a couple ice baths, try to rest throughout tomorrow. At this point, it ain't about scouting. It's just going to be who makes shots, who gets rebounds, and who finishes free throws.
Right, Coach, congrats on the win. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Tyler, Ryan, back up to you guys.
Appreciate it as always, the third member of our crew, Andrew Rogers. 80-73, Anderson punches its ticket to take on Carson-Newman, as Andrew mentioned, for the fourth year in a row. However, this time it's not a quarterfinal matchup, but a semifinal matchup. Ryan, some final thoughts from you from today's contest.
Yeah, just a great game between Anderson and Marshall. That's how exciting a contest can be, despite poor shooting percentages, below 40% for both sides. It's a really well-executed game plan for both teams. Coach Satoris talked about her squad and their ability to grow and develop from this experience. And it's a nice little wrinkle for tomorrow that it's one step closer to the championship game for Anderson and Carson-Newman. It's as familiar of a matchup in the postseason as you can get. Two matchups in last year's postseason, one in the conference tournament and one in Salisbury in the regional, and then these two teams will see each other again. Split in the regular season, exciting end of the contest in Holt Fieldhouse. Really pumped for tomorrow and what tomorrow's contest will bring.
So we get to update the bracket one final time here in the quarterfinals. The top-seeded Coker Cobras take on the 4-seed Wingate Bulldogs. All chalk, the 2-seed Carson-Newman Eagles, getting the benefit of playing a day early as part of being the 2-seed. Will take on the 3-seed Anderson Trojans in our contest tomorrow. That Coker-Wingate game will take place at 5 o'clock, with Carson-Newman and Anderson taking place at approximately around 7:30, depending on how all four prior games go as well. The women taking place in the semifinals after the men's semifinals as well. Final score here as we'll take a look at the updated bracket. Anderson moves on, all chalk on the women's side. Coker, Wingate, Carson-Newman, Anderson, a fun day of South Atlantic Conference basketball coming up tomorrow. Well, for our entire crew based out of Jefferson City, Tennessee, and our wonderful cameramen and women on the high cam, Kennedy Goins, on the slash, Max Bryant, our two baseline camera operators, Molly Buckowitz and Itzi Ayala, our wonderful third member of our broadcast crew, Andrew Rogers, our replay director, Jay West, producer, Ian Johnson, my wonderful analyst, as always, Ryan Wilkes. I'm Tyler Katz saying so long from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. One more time, your final score, Anderson 80, Mars Hill 73. This has been a presentation of Flow College.